let's document Xano. Whenever you're working on Xano and you're, popping over to your, APIs or your other endpoints, you are presented with the opportunity to do all sorts of inline documentation, both in terms of the names you're giving to endpoints, etc., but also doing the, putting in description, adding tags, what have you. And this can sometimes feel a little pointless because you're putting them in, and while it helps with the searching, it's like, how do you then turn this into documentation that you can get outside of your system? There's certainly ways you can be getting that, like from your Swagger or what have you, particularly for your API endpoints, but how does that relate to your tasks or to the functions you might have in your library? Because all of these things are things that you can document, right? I can go over here to my one of my bigger background tasks, and I can add more information into it, like adding descriptions, like your runs every 15 minutes to get to process state change videos, right? And add tags, whatever. But like, what's really going to be my incentive for doing that? And the key incentive here is being able to get documentation for your overall Xano instance. And so that's something we now do with the state change extension for Xano. You can document, as you go along, and then export a complete view of your workspace as of the current branch that you're in and the current revision of that branch. So I can, if you have the state change extension for Xano, you'll now have a button here that says export documentation, and you can click, you can say, I want to look at both either my published stacks or just the drafts, or my drafts as well, right? So it's whether it's just the published version or layered on top of that is the other. I can click in there. I can decide how much detail I really want. Like, do you want a description of all the function steps? Do you only want the inputs and outputs, or just like a real summary here? I find inputs and outputs is often a good middle ground for getting started. And then, I can just say, go show that in a format HTML. And this will then show it to you, directly inside your Xano. It's a relatively simple layout, but it is, but it gives you this pretty complete view of like, what are your environment variables, what data sources do you have, and then start to iterate right over your various API groups. And your functions and your, basically everything you've got in here, except for the tables, because the tables we document using the DBML, which is something I covered in a different video. So basically this is for the function stacks. Now, this is all, useful fairly immediately to get a picture, right, of how these various functions are going to work. But under the covers, there's something that's even more potentially valuable, which is why do we want to document it? We want to document them often to get insight out of these systems so we can ask questions about them. So one of the best ways for us to ask questions is going to be through actually exporting it to something like an AI system like Claude or Gemini or X or whatever it is you want to use, and how do you get that now out of your Xano? And this is a feature that we have in the paid tier of the state change extension, because when you click on export, and I want to say published, and I'm going to say show me the inputs and outputs. I clicked on show format HTML, but I also have the opportunity to say show the Markdown. You see, Markdown is the language of AI. And if you put that into an AI system, it actually has a very easy time digesting and understanding the meaning of it, as you have like various heading layers and the tagging. And the way their extension works is it creates all of that very natively, including things like tags and descriptions and all that good. But because I'm currently on the free plan, I can't do that. So if I click and I just sign in to my state change, now I can go back over here. You can see I'm logged in as me again. Now if I do an export, I can publish and inputs and outputs. And see, now I can copy. Can be copied for AI. Now I can click here and we'll copy it to the clipboard, right? You can sort of see it's all the API that looks like. And it's moderately easy to look at. And then I can bring it over to Claude. I can just do a paste, right? And does that as an artifact, right? So which elements deal with videos? And I can ask questions and then to get more information. Now, the more information you give the AI, the better it will go, right? Because we'll see the videos and some different kinds of things I've got in here. Some that are about processing, etc. And the This you can ask questions that are that are as that are going to make use of everything you've documented inside your Xano. So it will certainly at the baseline tell you everything that exists, its inputs and outputs, and like what function steps to use. But the more you document it, the smarter you will make the AI in terms of being able to answer questions. You don't need to even put in a lot of documentation, like a sentence or half a sentence each will make a huge difference. And if you do those things, you can be making use of the best AI that you can work with by exporting this information and be able to understand your Xano workspace and be able to make better decisions that will allow you to conquer your hardest 5%.